Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I am very happy to share with you my top 10 spring fragrances from the designer side that I've chosen to go ahead and wear for this year. I'm always happy to do these kinds of videos just because it lets me take stock of what's in my collection and kind of figure out, oh, what am I going to be wearing for this spring in bulk, in moderation. What am I going to kind of cut down on? I actually look at how much juice I have left for each of them, and that actually comes into play for a lot of my choosing, believe it or not. But either way, this is going to be my list. So a couple of quick ground rules, and then we'll get right into the video. First ground rule, this is my list. This is nobody else's list. This is not a top 10 compilation of compliments. This is not a top 10 compilation of what I think are the best fragrances for the spring. This is more clearly a top 10 compilation of the fragrances that I'm going to be wearing for the spring. This is extremely important because I often get questions like, oh, hey, fragrance X is clearly better than fragrance Y. Or, I've noticed you even said fragrance X is better than fragrance Y. Well, that doesn't matter here because this is where I'm simply stating to you and letting you know what I'm going to be wearing for spring from the designer side and put them in rank order. That's it. Second rule is a description of what spring is. A lot of people come to my videos from around the world, from different climates. Spring, I live in New York City. Spring here is anywhere ranging between usually like low 40s to upper 90s degrees Fahrenheit. So it can get quite hot here and it can be quite cold at the same time. So fragrances in my spring collection tend to be from both realms, tend to be fragrances that'll do well in the cold weather and tend to do well in the hot weather and a little bit in between. All right? So with that, let's go ahead and get right into my video. The first fragrance coming in at number 10 was a fragrance that was given to me from a fellow reviewer. The fellow reviewer's name is Chad. He's Canadian. He came down, had a great time, and he actually gave me a fragrance as a gift. Fantastic gift. It ended up being fragrance called Bentley for Men Intense, essentially. This fragrance, absolute gem in disguising. I thought, immediately when I smelled it, it smelled like something that I had smelled before. I wasn't sure what it actually smelled like, but then I came to the realization this actually smells like one of my other favorite fragrances from the house of Olfactive Studios called Chambre Noire. And it's not the exact same smell, but it has the same sort of DNA to it. And for that, I've been kind of wearing it here or there. It was just at first to kind of test. And then I started, kind of prepping to see if I was going to review it, doing a little bit of test for that. And I was like, man, I actually really like this. And this would be actually pretty nice for a going out fragrance that I'm going to be wearing at, when I'm, gathering with Becky and some of our friends. We're going to a bar. We're going to have drinks. Whatever it may be, this is the perfect fragrance for those nights out. So Bentley Intense coming in at number 10, one of my night out fragrances for the spring. At number 9, we have a fragrance from the house of Christian Dior. The fragrance is known as, and I'm sorry for the trade noise, but we're going to have to put up with this for at least a year. Number 9, from the house of Christian Dior, we have Eau Sauvage. Ooh, sorry. Having a little bit of trouble since the light is there. But either way, Eau Sauvage from the house of Christian Dior. This one is a little bit interesting. I have always taken a liking to this one, mainly because it's kind of got this sour note to it. It's a little bit, I want to say, it's sour, it's got this citrus note to it, and it's got this weird kind of tinge to it. But either way, this is one that I wear almost as a casual scent during the springtime. It's a perfect fragrance for that casual, time where I just throw it on, where I'm not really sure what I want to wear. I'll just throw on Eau Sauvage and it'll accomplish the job. All right, so Eau Sauvage from the house of Christian Dior. Number 8, from the house of Cartier, we have a fragrance that I usually wear when it gets really hot. It is called Roadster. Roadster, this is my quintessential hot fragrance. So if it starts to get really hot in spring and I feel like I'm a little bit overloaded, I throw on Roadster. This is a minty fragrance that comes off like a spearmint, almost like, if you remember like Wrigley's, I think it was Wrigley's gum or the Wrigley's spearmint gum, it kind of has a little bit of that minty flavor to it. So this is one that I wear in those times, and specifically just for those times because it doesn't really have performance, so I tend to wear it when it's hot, and I'll throw it into a little decant just to reapply it, but it gives it a nice little tinge to it. Number 8, Cartier Roadster. Number 7, we have a fragrance that I absolutely could not stand when I first came across it. It's another fragrance from the house of Dior. The fragrance is called Fahrenheit. Yes, Fahrenheit. This is actually crept onto my, I believe, my fall list, and now it's crept onto my spring list. It's one that has definitely grown on me, and I've come to enjoy a little bit more and more every single year. It's easily wearable. It's pretty unique. I haven't really smelled anyone around me on it, and to be perfectly honest, it gets a fair amount of compliments. I won't say a great amount of compliments, but a fair amount of compliments to it. And it just really fits with the image sometimes, where it's a little bit more on the chilly side, and I feel like wearing it, out in a casual type situation. Fahrenheit. Number 6. This fragrance comes from the house of Strelsin. The fragrance is called Strelsin Number 1. This is one of my workhorses for work. I specifically wear this one to work. It's understated. You still smell good. It's got a vetiver tinge to it. It's got a vetiver citrus and light tinge to it. I wear it to work all the time just because of the fact that I think it's a quintessential work fragrance, and it's just such a great scent for that. Nobody will ever say that you smell bad, and at the same time, they think you smell great. Strelsin Number 1, a little bit hard to get your hands on, but definitely worth it at number 6. At number 5, we have another one from the house of, first one from the house of Chanel. We've got Bleu de Chanel, a workhorse that should be in any fragrance collector, or not necessarily even collector, but any fragrance enthusiast's collection. I recommend this to people who aren't into fragrances and they absolutely love it. Bleu de Chanel, it has this very professional vibe to it. Very sweet, inviting, but at the same time not overly sweet and cloying. It just comes off as absolutely fantastic on your skin. High compliment getter. People will compliment you out on the streets when you're wearing this one, provided that you're dressed appropriately and have everything else going on. But outside of that, Bleu de Chanel is a top choice at number 5, and one of my heavy hitters. It's going down there in terms of juice, but number 5, Bleu de Chanel. Number 4, another heavy hitter for work. We've got from the house of Guerlain, we've got Guerlain's Vetiver. Guerlain's Vetiver, this is a more citrusy vetiver that's more on the citrus side rather than the dark, dirty vetiver side. It's got a little bit of dirty elements to it, but it's not a dirty vetiver. It's definitely more of a sweet vetiver. For that reason, this is another one that people have outright complimented me on when I am in meetings, especially. And after the meeting, they'll pull me aside and be like, "Whoa, what is it that you're wearing? It smells so great." So on my skin, this one comes off absolutely fantastic, and is the major player that I wear to work in springtime, and it's going to be no different now with this. All right, Guerlain's Vetiver. Number 3, we have a new addition to the list. Fragrance that I recently, I guess you could say, acquired. I reviewed already. We've got from the house of Terry Mugler. We've got Pure Orange. Pure Zest, or we've got so many names that we're calling it. Whoops, sorry about the camera. Let's go ahead and go here. This one, the Orange Star from the house of Terry Mugler, it's, how do I say it? It comes off, I say orange creamsicle-like. Other people have said it's a little bit different, but it's like orange and patchouli combined, and it gives it this unique scent. So it's more of a darker scent during the summer that I like to wear. That I will be going to wear, at the nighttime when it's a little bit dark, when it's a little bit colder outside, a little bit darker. But I plan to wear this when it's probably around like the 70s and everything like that. That's when I'm going to really wear this scent, and it's going to be in casual situations and night out situations. That's Pure Zest. I'm sticking with Pure Zest, all right? Number 2, from the house of Dior again. Wow, I didn't realize. Okay, well, Dior's dominating this. From the house of Dior, we've got Dior Cologne. Now, Dior Cologne, to me, smells like a lighter version of Dior Homme Sport, the one that I have. Now, it actually doesn't smell like the more recent reformulation of Dior Homme Sport. It smells like the older version of Dior Homme Sport, and it's a much more simplified version of it. This is one that I wear just because it's one of the ones that I think when I think it's very versatile is what I'm trying to say. Any situation that I can really think of, or when I'm having trouble of thinking something, I just throw this one on, and it does absolutely fantastic. Now, one thing that I will note is that it hasn't really gotten me that many compliments that I've been thinking, but I'm willing to try it a little bit more this spring, just because I think that I can turn it around just based off of what I was wearing and see how that goes with compliments, all right? So we've got a Dior Homme Cologne at number 2. And the number 1 fragrance, this should be no surprise to anyone if you have been watching some of my previous videos. We are going with Chanel Allure Homme Edition Blanche. Sorry, I'm kind of angling it at an angle so the light doesn't just kill it. Now, Edition Blanche is a lemony cream pie. It's a lemon cream pie. It's just absolutely fantastic to it. It's got this very bright, citrusy blast to it, and it dries down to like a similar version of itself, but a little bit more powdery. It's just fantastic on that. Now, the one downside with it is it does have a little bit of performance issues. So if performance is an absolute must for you, may want to try this one first before you actually try it, but that hasn't stopped me from loving this fragrance. High compliment getter, absolutely fantastic. People ask what you're wearing so they can buy it. Fantastic. All right, so we've got Allure Homme Edition Blanche coming in at number 1. Let me know what you are wearing. That concludes my list. Let me know what you're wearing. I'm always curious to see what people are wearing for spring. I've actually chosen and picked out some other fragrances based off of what I've seen on other people's lists and absolutely adored it. So I just love the information sharing between everyone. All right? If you have any questions whatsoever, again, please leave a comment, send me a message, leave me a note, do whatever you got to do. Thank you. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.